Okay. Hey guys, welcome to a YouTube video that I'm making today on my PC. Yeah, today we're going to be reacting to his story, his wife's story. And we're going to be reacting to his shorts that I've never seen before. So, I guess, I'm not good with intro, so let's just get into it.
A mom in yoga pants pointed at me in the ice cream truck line and yelled, "That man just cut in front of my son for Blue Monster Crunch." I set my hand on my nephew's shoulder and pulled him half a step behind me. He gripped the $3 I'd given him as a reward for not biting the dentist. I'd promised him if he made it through the appointment, I'd buy him a Blue Monster Crunch he could bite as hard as he wanted, and his jaw was already working side to side just thinking about it. The driver leaned out, freezer lid half open. I only have one Blue Monster Crunch left. If my nephew didn't get it, somebody else was getting bit instead. The woman raised her voice before I could answer. "He's teaching."
Someone getting bit instead is crazy. That is just the craziest thing I've ever seen.
A child to cut for ice cream. My nephew's teeth clicked together, and I clamped my hand flat on his shoulder to keep him from lunging at her purse strap. I planted my foot in front of his sneaker. "We've been in line the whole time." She slapped $4 on the counter. "My son deserves it more." My nephew's whole body leaned forward, jaw open, eyes locked on her wrist, and I hooked 2 fingers into his collar and hauled him back against my leg.
This kid is a dog or something. This kid is a dinosaur. Who the heck just threatens to bite someone because they're not getting ice cream? That is crazy.
The woman didn't flinch, so I stood straighter and put my body fully between them because I knew she was seconds away from crying about a bite mark instead of an ice cream bar. He was next, and he bites. The driver looked at both kids, then reached into the freezer, and I felt my nephew's fingers dig into my leg like he was counting down. The driver pulled out the last Blue Monster Crunch, and the yoga mom's hand shot across the counter and grabbed it at the same second my nephew's jaw.
She is about to get snapped in the arm.
Snapped forward at her sleeve. I hooked my arm around his chest and yanked him back just as her son tugged her jacket. "I want SpongeBob." She turned, hand still holding the ice cream bar in the air. "What?" He pointed into the freezer. "The one with the weird eyes." My nephew stopped straining against my arm and leaned around me to look. "Can I get one too?" The driver dug 2 SpongeBob bars out from the bottom of the freezer and passed one to each boy. They ripped off the wrappers, tapped them together like a cheers, and my nephew sank his teeth straight into SpongeBob's face while Yoga Mom stood there still holding the melting Blue Monster Crunch. He grinned up at me. "I only bite ice cream now." A mom in
Wait, so what about the Blue Monster Crunch? Who's gonna have it? Is she? I was expecting that mom to get bit. I was expecting him to rip her arm off. This short sucks.
Me and my girlfriend were kissing in her bed for the first time when her police dad kicked down the door. "Son, what were you doing with my daughter?" My lips started quivering. My girlfriend shot up and threw her hands in the air. "Oh my gosh, we were just kissing, Dad. That's all." He didn't even glance at her. He put his hand on his baton and pointed at the hallway behind him. "You've got 5 seconds to run." I shot up and dove headfirst for the stairs. His boots slammed down the steps right behind me. When I got to the bottom, I grabbed the laundry basket off the railing and flung it behind me, but he plowed through it. Socks flying everywhere. "Get back here!" I screamed. "Ah!" I could hear
What the hell is happening?
my girlfriend screaming at the top of the stairs. "Daddy, stop! He's a good guy!" But he didn't care. I shoved a dining chair into the hallway, doing everything I
Is this Tom and Jerry?
could to keep myself alive, but he hurdled it without breaking a sweat. "You little will destroy you." Suddenly, my shoulders hit the wall by the front door. There was nowhere left to go, and he reached out to grab me and grinned. Finally, but the front door swung open between us. His wife stood there with grocery bags, staring at the wrecked hallway, and her purple-faced husband. "What is going on in my house?" He straightened up and pointed at me. "This young man thinks it's okay to kiss our daughter." She stared at him for a second. "Oh my gosh, that's it? That's why you're losing it right now?" Just like that, the air went out of him. Yes, honey." She nodded at the mess on the floor and put her hands on her hips. "You have 5 seconds to clean up this mess." He bent down without another word, and she put her hand on my shoulder and smiled. "Sorry about that. Let's start over. What would you like for dinner?" My girlfriend kissed me on the cheek. "He likes lasagna." Me and my girl.
Okay, I did not know his story was Tom and Jerry. Okay.
I was pulling into my driveway in my brand new car when I felt the wheels lose traction and screamed. I slammed into a tree, and when I stumbled out, I saw banana peels smeared all over my tires, and I heard laughing behind me.
Is this Mario Kart?
My little brother Zach pointed. Gotcha, loser! That's what you get for getting a car before me! My whole body filled with anger. You're 14, bruh! You can't even drive! But he got closer. If I can't have a car, neither can you. I looked at my wrecked car, years of savings gone, and stormed inside with my fists clenched, because I wasn't letting this little brat get away with this. I went to my parents to expose him, but Zach cut in front of me. He crashed his new car being reckless. I threw my hands up. No, he put banana peels in the driveway, but my parents just laughed. Zach would never do that. He's clearly more responsible than you. Through the window, they saw my car. And you're paying for the damage yourself. Zach stuck his tongue out while they wrapped their arms around him as I walked away defeated. I towed the car to the mechanic, hoping I could fix it, but he handed me a bill for $5,000. But I had 2 cents in my bank account. So I had to sell my dream car and walk home with nothing. I didn't think it could get worse, but when I got home, a brand new car was sitting in the driveway. My parents were hugging Zach. This is his reward for doing the right thing. He ran up and shoved the keys.
He is 14. You cannot get a he doesn't even have a driver's license, and I'm pretty sure you can't get one until 16.
In my face. Told you, I deserve a car more than you. Be more responsible next time. But I just stood there, calm, because I had the perfect plan. The next day, I found Zach and laughed. What a loser. You can't even drive, bruh. He shot up, angry. I could. At least I have a car. But I slapped my knee. Nah, bruh. You're still learning about fractions. He grabbed his keys. Oh yeah? Watch me. He jumped in his car and floored it.
He's about to crash.
In reverse. I looked at the banana peels I planted the night before and saw his tires hit the peels, spin out, and slam the whole front end into the mailbox. Before he could blink, I ran inside screaming, Zach crashed his car. He's not even allowed to drive. My parents stormed out, and this time they saw everything. Zach Ronaldo Avery, you're ground.
Zach Ronaldo Avery. What is that name?
And no car until you're 18. Zach sobbed into his hands as they turned to me. As a reward, we'll fix it and give it to you instead. They hugged me as I
Yes! The good ending.
stuck my tongue out at my brother. Be more responsible next time.
What are the comments going to say about his name? Zach Ronaldo Avery is an insane name. That's all the comments. Zach Ronaldo Avery. Zach Ronaldo Avery. Zach Ronaldo Avery.
I grabbed a stick off the ground and yelled, Fortnite Battle Royale, then watched my friends do the same. Our village had been invaded by soldiers 2 weeks ago, and we just wanted to take our minds off our families dying. We started pretend shooting each other and laughing for the first time in weeks. I hid in a bush because I'd seen players.
This is like, it's like he's in 19, I don't know, the year World War II started. He's going to be in World War II.
Do that back when I still had internet, but my friends stayed in the square fighting. When my
Wait, no, Fortnite wasn't a thing back then.
friend Sammy ran past my bush, I instantly pretend shot him. He yelled, ah, and clutched his chest, then laughed, guess I'm eliminated, and climbed into the bush to spectate the game. But then suddenly, we saw army clothes, the same soldiers who killed our families 2 weeks ago. Our friends dropped their sticks in fear, and I felt my chest go cold. They didn't see us, and just started rounding up our friends. Where are you taking us? But the soldiers said nothing, and just held their wrists. We have to help them, Sammy whispered, and went to leap out.
All you have is a stick. What do you think you're going to do? I mean, I guess you could destroy him with your imagination, but what?
But I blocked him. We're gonna die, man. They have guns. Well, we have to do something. I was panicking, watching my friends cry while being marched in a straight line. I'd never see them again. But then one of our friends, Yusuf, punched a guard. He started running in our direction.
I was about to get pew pew pew. I already heard a gunshot.
And I held my breath, praying he'd make it. But the soldier caught up and grabbed Yusuf's shoulders. Yusuf thrashed, but the soldier
Yusuf
calmly turned to his squad leader. What will I do with this one? The squad leader looked down at Yusuf, crying. Deal with him alone. Do it there. He pointed at the woods behind our bush. I gripped my head in horror. The others continued marching, while the soldier dragged Yusuf forward with a sick smile. Me and Sammy nodded at each other and clutched our sticks, our hands shaking as we knew this was our only chance. The soldier walked by and we crept out of our bush. The leaves crunched under my feet as I approached him, and I raised my stick quietly as I could. But he heard us. He turned around.
What is this pause? What is this freeze frame? What? What? my god, what the hell?
but my stick was already connecting with his head.
Oh damn, he's bald.
Sammy's stick hit his stomach at the same time and he dropped. His head hit a rock on the way down and he wouldn't move. Yusuf instantly hugged us. "You saved me," and we immediately dragged him back into the bush. But others were gone. Me and Sammy couldn't save everyone, but our bush had at least saved Yusuf. I grabbed a stick.
Is Yusuf like the best friend? Wait, what are we gonna do about everyone else? Probably nothing. They're gone. They're gonna turn into soldiers in World War III.
Two officers rushed into my office and grabbed my arms before I even stood up from my desk. The promotion email still sitting open on my monitor from that morning. "You're under arrest for the murder of Luis Rodriguez." I stumbled back while my whole team froze and stared at me. "I don't even know who that is." They cuffed my hands behind my back anyway. "Save it. We have all the proof we need." All I could think the whole ride to the station was how I was going to prove I was innocent before I lost the life I'd finally.
I know what's gonna happen. The murderer is gonna look exactly like him, but then they're gonna realize that the murderer had like different colored hair or something.
Built for myself since I left my toxic ex Dana 8 months ago.
And Dana called the police and framed him.
I sat in jail 3 weeks before I finally met my lawyer in the visitation room. She slid a folder across the table. "3 witnesses saw you at the scene." I shook my head. "There's no way. I didn't do it." She pulled out 3 photos and laid them side by side. "Do any of them look familiar?" I glanced at the first 2 and shrugged, but the third one made my blood run cold. I knew that face from a Christmas I'd spent with my ex-girlfriend Dana's family last year. "That's my ex's cousin." My lawyer's pen stopped moving. "Are you sure?" I nodded, and she sat back in her chair. "Let me see what I can find." She was back the next day, already talking before she sat down. "The other 2 witnesses, one's her old sorority sister, and the other worked with her at her last job." She tapped a printed bank statement. "She paid all 3 of them the same day you were arrested and sent them this text." She slid over a screenshot, a group text from Dana. "Now he will never enjoy a life without me." My charges were dropped the next day, and Dana was arrested for murder. I walked back into my office the following Monday, and my whole team stood up and clapped.
That was a weird silence at the end.
I stood up to toast my wife when my ring box slipped out of my jacket. I saw it roll under the gifts table and disappear from my sight. That's when I heard 250-pound Deborah yell into the microphone, "I'm going to swing like Spider-Man." The lights cut out and a spotlight hit the ceiling, and Deborah was sitting on the chandelier holding the mic. I went pale because the whole thing was hanging directly over the gift table, and I had to get
What the hell is Queso doing?
my ring out before her enormous size brought that chandelier down on it. I saw her take her first swing, but the chandelier couldn't hold a weight, and the first bolt was already popping, with guests scattering from their chairs yelling, "Not again! This is the 3rd time she's done this."
The third time is third time. Why didn't they stop her when she announced it?
Desperately reached out and my fingers brushed the box, but her swing shook the floor and it rolled deeper into the dark. Deborah hung on and kept toasting, "Woohoo, I'm Spider-Woman!" The second bolt snapped, and the chandelier dropped so low, the crystals clipped a centerpiece right beside me. I
It didn't even touch it.
stretched until my shoulder burned and got my fingertips on the box, but I heard the last bolt cracked above me. The chandelier was coming straight down, so I rolled out from under the table with empty hands. Deborah and the chandelier flattened the gift table, and the room went silent under the dust. I dug through the smashed gifts, screaming her name, but Deborah sat up out of the wreckage with glass in her hair and one fist held high. She opened it, and my ring box was sitting in her palm. Turns out when the table exploded, the box shot straight up, and she'd caught it out of the air on her way down. I opened it right there in the rubble, and the ring didn't have a scratch, so I high-fived Deborah and said, "Nice work, Spider-Woman." The microphone. "I'm going to swing like My little brother stood in my doorway holding his laptop and said, "Just 1 episode before you leave tomorrow." My flight was at 7 in the morning, and I hadn't packed a thing. I was moving out for good, and this was the last night I'd sleep in that house for a long time. 1 episode.
Episode of what though?
That's it. He sat on the very edge of my mattress and pulled up something called Assassination Classroom. There's a yellow octopus teacher and the kids have to kill him. He blew up most of the moon. That's the worst thing I'd ever heard. He rolled his eyes. "Just watch." The octopus dodged every bullet the kids fired at him, then stayed after class to tutor the one who was failing.
First of all, what type of AI is this? Second of all, you didn't tell me this would be an anime.
Math. This is stupid, I groaned, trying not to smile. I looked over at Max, but he wasn't watching the screen. He was watching me, checking if I liked it. Episode 2 started, and I didn't stop it. My phone buzzed on the nightstand, my ride confirming 7 a.m., and I turned it face down without answering. Halfway through the third one, I got up and walked to my suitcase, and behind me, Max whispered, "The next part is the best part." I stood there with a pair of jeans in my hand. Screw it. I dropped them, left the suitcase open on the floor, and sat back down. When the credits hit, I grabbed the laptop off his knees and hit next before he could. "I thought you said it was stupid. Be quiet. It's starting." I picked up my phone and moved my flight to the end of the week. We watched 4 more, both of us saying one more, until he tipped sideways against my headboard and went quiet. I shook his shoulder. "Hey, you want to keep going?" Nothing. His head was heavy on my shoulder. I pulled the blanket over both of us, turned the volume down, and started episode 8 by myself, so that when he woke up, I could tell him I never stopped. My little brother stood.
Okay, that, honestly, I actually like that. I'm liking it. I actually really like that story. That was pretty cool. Good.
I was organizing my Pokemon cards when my girlfriend picked up my childhood Charizard and dangled it like it disgusted her. "You're a grown man. Why are you still playing with kids' toys?" I snatched it back before she could bend it. "I pulled this when I was 7, and collectors still offer me stupid money for it." She trailed after me, waving at all my cards. "It's embarrassing. Just get rid of it before somebody comes over." I slipped it into my pocket where she couldn't reach it. "I'm never selling this one." The next morning, she stood over my shelf with her coffee. "It's a pile of useless garbage and you know it." I ran my thumb over the binder. "This got me through the worst year of my childhood." That afternoon, I caught her flicking my cards into a bag while she watched. That is
not nice.
My face. On Friday, she pointed me out to her friends across the living room. "I swear he still collects Pokemon cards like a little boy." My face went hot while they laughed, but I kept my hand pressed over the Charizard in my pocket where it had been all week. Monday, my phone buzzed with a text from my buddy at the card shop. "Yo, isn't this your whole collection?" She dumped it all online for $40.
No!
And my hands went cold. I called him before I even stood up. "Buy it all back right now before someone else grabs it." I came home to an empty shelf, but she didn't even turn around. "Relax, you needed to grow up anyway." I nodded and let her think she'd won. The next
Are you gonna break up or divorce? Break up or divorce? I don't know, is she a wife or girlfriend? I'm gonna say she's a girlfriend. Are you gonna break up with her?
morning, I told her she was right. It's about time I grew up and sold this kid stuff. She practically skipped to the shop with me. I laid my Charizard on the counter, and my buddy turned it over in his hands. "This one's worth about 9 grand. She stood there with her mouth hanging open while he counted it out. She reached for the cash, but I zipped it into my jacket. "That's the deposit on my own place." She grabbed my arm as I turned for the door. "I really thought you'd never sell that card." So did I, but it just saved me from this relationship. I walked out while she stood there with her hand still open. She grabbed my arm as I turned for the door. "I really thought you'd never sell that card." So did I, but it just saved me from this relationship. I walked out while she stood there with her hand still open. I was organizing my Pokemon cards when my girlfriend picked up my I walked into Granddad's hospital room and saw him hitting a rectangular device with smoke rising from his mouth. I ran over in horror.
Is he vaping?
And gasped because Granddad had a giant smile on his face. I ripped it from him. "How many did you take?" "Like 4. The nurse left it here and told me to have some." I gripped my head in horror because how could a nurse do that?
I'm surprised he didn't cough his lungs out there.
Granddad's eyes were already red as he ran his hands over his hospital gown. "Wow, I can really feel everything. This medicine is amazing." I told him to calm down, but he was already licking his lips. "I'm really hungry though." He gripped his railing and suddenly stood up for the first time.
What the hell? Okay, I think they're gonna let him keep it because the vape is helping him. Or maybe it's like a special type of vape that helps him.
Time in 6 months. My eyes widened as my horror turned to amazement. "You're standing, Granddad!" But he wasn't even responding and just walked towards his hospital roommate, who was eating his tray of food in his own bed. I realized what Granddad was doing and reached for him. "Granddad, no!" But he was already picking the mashed potatoes out of his roommate's tray with his hands. "I've never tasted mashed potatoes so good." He smiled and picked more. His roommate was delirious.
His roommate doesn't even care. He's not even stopping him.
And barely noticed him, and I dragged Granddad back to his bed and slammed the nurse button, having no idea what to even think. But when I turned around, Granddad was again hitting the Pendulum. I took it from him, and he—
What is a
He dropped to the floor, his eyes deep red as he hysterically laughed at the ceiling. The nurse ran in, and her mouth flung open immediately. I raised the Pendulum at her. "This is your fault. How could you give it to him and tell him to take some?" My voice shook, but the nurse frantically shook her head. "That's not mine. I told him to take his medicine." She pointed at the still full cup of pills Granddad had knocked over in his hysteria. My brain rattled as I stared at the Pendulum while Granddad's laughter filled the air. Then where did this come from? Me and the nurse looked at each other, and that's when Granddad's roommate slowly raised his head from his tray of mashed potatoes.
What the hell? Where did he get a pendulum or a vape or what it's called? Where did? Huh? Like how did he get that?
His eyes glowing red with a goofy smile. I knew I'd left it somewhere. He started laughing just as hard as my granddad. I walked into Granddad's hospital room.
First of all, what is a pendulum? This guy's a moderator. Birdie film. What is a pendulum? Is it like a vape? Birdie King British. Okay guys, we'll be watching 3 more shorts, okay? Before I end the video. And edit it. Sometimes. Because I am tired. Okay? It is currently 1 a.m. It's 1 a.m. right now. I am shocked. Right? Let me show you. Let me show you guys. Let me just add a scene. Three more shorts and I'm done.
A kid pointed at my crossed eyes and screamed, "If anything hits you right now, they'll stick like that forever." I laughed and shook my head because I was determined to keep my reputation as the funniest class clown in school history. So I responded with, "Nah," and I smacked myself upside the head to prove him wrong. Except when I tried to uncross them, it didn't work. Wait a second. I was about to run to the bathroom when Miss Lally walked in, and my heart started pounding with adrenaline because last time I saw her, she told me if I made another joke, she'd expel me. She set her bag down slowly. "We are not doing this today. Fix your face, now." The entire class were biting their nails to see what would happen next, and I felt my throat close with anxiety. "I can't. My eyes won't uncross." I started crying uncontrollably because the one time I wasn't joking, it looked like I was trying my best material. Then she held up her phone. "Uncross them now, or I call the principal and
He literally can't. He's literally crying.
you're gone." The same kid from earlier shot out of his seat. "He's not faking. My mom says there's no..." She pointed at his chair without looking. "Your mom is not a doctor. Sit." Then she dialed, and I buried my head in my hands. I needed the ambulance, not the principal. He stormed in. "What is going on here?" Miss Lally pointed at my face. "He's trying to be funny again." I tore my hair out in frustration. I had my eyes crossed and hit myself, and now they're stuck. "I can't uncross them." She rolled her eyes. "Yes, he can, and I'm going to prove it." She leaned down into my face.
I'm not trying that because I'm scared.
Crossed her eyes and said, "Watch. I'm going to hit myself the same way you did and uncross right
Uh-oh.
after." The entire room, including me, watched with our eyes wide open. When her eyes were crossed, she blinked hard and rubbed them and blinked again, then grabbed his arm and screamed the sentence she'd threatened to expel me over. "My eyes won't uncross." The principal looked from her face to mine and said, "Miss Lally, fix your face." She'd hit herself with her eyes crossed to prove the rule was fake, and it caught her exactly like it caught me. The same kid stood on his chair and pointed at both of us. My mom is never wrong. For the first time all year, nobody thought I was joking. 2 years later, me and Miss Lally are both still cross-eyed because that kid's mom was right. Forever means forever. A kid pointed.
What the hell? What? Okay, I'm gonna read the comments to see this video. Well, I'm gonna search that up.
At my crossed eyes and screamed, "If anything hits you right now, they'll stick like..." My friend and I were about to take our seats at the sumo match when a staff member grabbed my arm. "You're up next. Why aren't you dressed?"
Are you serious?
My heart dropped because I've been bullied all my life for my size, and now I was being mistaken for a sumo wrestler. Sir, I think you've got the wrong, but my friend cut in, pointing right at me. Yeah, that's your guy. Let's get him ready. My
Fake friend. Fake friends.
jaw dropped. He'd set me up, and before I could argue, the staff member dragged me backstage while I mumbled a prayer, hoping I'd survive. They shoved me into a mawashi, the giant diaper-looking belt, and pushed me toward the ring. That's when he stepped out of the...
Okay, that's crazy. But did bro have 6 toes? Did bro have 12 toes?
me into a mawashi, the giant diaper-looking...
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, that's just me.
belt and pushed me toward the ring. That's when he stepped out of the shadows. My opponent was 2 of me stacked together, thighs thicker than my whole body, and my stomach dropped. I grabbed my friend's shirt. I can't do this, bro. I know I'm fat, but he's built different. He gripped my shoulders. Dude, have a little confidence for once. Then he shoved me in, and the crowd roared as the sumo cracked his neck.
He's gonna do like, I don't know, he's gonna do like a backflip and, or I don't know, he's just gonna, when he's about to run, he's gonna like turn around or something and shake his butt, and then it'll make him more angry, and then he'll dash with his eyes shut or something, and then he'll run, and then he's gonna crash into the crowd and he'll die. The sumo wrestler will die. That's what I think will happen.
And locked eyes with me. A bell rang, and he charged, slamming into me so hard the air left my lungs, then grabbed my belt and shoved me toward the edge. My feet slid across the clay, and then he lifted...
Yo, what if his pants, like, go through his butt? Or what if he pulls his pants up and then, I don't know, they fall off. They rip. Like, that bit rips, and then you can just see his butt.
me off my feet and slammed me onto my back. Pain shot up my spine as the crowd gasped. I lay there staring up at his belly rolls as he raised his body to finish me. My whole body froze, and so did my friend. I thought I was about to die with a naked man on top of me, but I couldn't let that happen. So right as he came down, I braced my legs out of fear and shoved into him with everything I had. When I opened my eyes,
How the hell did he just fly like that? He didn't fly? What?
Man on top of me, but I couldn't let that happen. So right as he came down, I braced my legs out of fear and shoved into him with everything. When I opened my eyes, the sumo was flat on his back outside the ring, and the crowd went berserk. I'd won, and my friends sprinted out screaming. For the first time in my life, people were cheering for the thing I'd been bullied for, and my size had made me a hero. But before I could soak it in, a fat man shoved through the crowd and pointed at me. I'm the real wrestler. Who is...
You were expecting to win? Bro, be glad that you weren't in it, bro. Be glad you weren't in it.
Is this imposter? The staff pushed me out of the ring as the real wrestler took his place. But I stayed smiling because they took my win, but they gave me my confidence. My friend and I were about to take...
Okay guys, one more short and then we're done. Last short.
I unzipped my dad's suitcase from the inside and quietly climbed out, all while he had his back turned and had no idea I was here. 12 hours ago, he told me and Mom he was going on a work trip for a few days, but his voice sounded strange, so I snuck into his suitcase while he slept and stayed there all night to find out what he was actually doing. He placed the suitcase with me inside down somewhere, then grunted about how heavy it was and walked away. I climbed out, and my jaw dropped as my feet hit the ground of a cabin, and I realized I was on a cruise. Dad was on the deck, laughing with his friends, and I covered my mouth in shock. I ran towards him. Dad! He spit his drink out. Son, what are you doing here? I hid in your suitcase. I instantly pulled out my phone and took a selfie. I was about to post about how I snuck on Dad's cruise when his friends ripped my phone away. No, we told our wives we're on a work trip. If your friends see this cruise on your story, we're cooked. They slid me $100 each to not tell anyone, and I instantly...
Ooh! I would still tell, honestly. They deserve to know. Their wives deserve to know.
He grinned. Okay, I took my phone back, but only if you get me a lounge chair. The 4 of them instantly brought a lounge chair over. Now fan me. I laid down and pointed at the giant leaves. My dad shook his head, but I just held my thumb over the FaceTime Mom button. They all instantly...
They can just take your dad started
fan.
Your dad can just take your phone.
By evening, I'd blackmailed $800, and Dad was personally feeding me grapes in the lounge chair while angrily muttering something about getting rid of me. I told him if he tries anything, I'll be snitching. But the next morning, I heard voices from the cabin. I walked in and saw the four of them playing poker. My eyes widened, and I instantly yelled, "Dad, you promised Mom you'd never play poker again." He facepalmed. "I'm not even playing for real money, son." But I was already snapping pictures. "I need $750 and your car keys. I want your car when we're home, or I'm showing this to Mom and saying you played for money." I showed him the photos that looked like real gambling. That's when he stood up and slammed his hands on the table. But suddenly the ship honked. "First stop." Dad's face lit up. "Actually, son, come with me." I followed him confused to the deck where people were getting off. Dad pointed at the antique store on the pier. "Can you go buy us all one blue and one white shellfish each? If you do, I'll give you a $1,000 total." I looked at him and screamed,
Why would you trust him?
"Hell yeah, I can." I ran down into the antique store and 15 minutes later walked out with 8 shellfish, ready to collect my $1,000. But that's when my jaw dropped. The cruise ship was already sailing away, while Dad and his friends waved at me from the deck, grinning. They were leaving me in Timbuktu with no way to get home. I unzipped my...
You can still send it to your mom, and then you can still send the pictures to your mom. Your mom. You can still send the pictures to your mom, and yeah, you could ask her. You could call 911. Well, anyways, guys, that's gonna be the end of this video. So guys, that's gonna be the end of this video. Yeah, that sorry about that. Sorry, but I'm just tired. I want to end it. I'm tired as hell. I'm tired as hell. So yeah, guys. I'm just gonna say everything. Yeah, this is the outro. Goodbye. Bye, guys.
Jeffy, I can't rap. Yes, you can, Daddy. Just give me some bars. I got the beat. Okay, yeah, homie, dogs, and all that. Yeah, I'm a burger. The girl, you know I took her. I brought her to my house, and she gave me a lot of sugar.